Welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch, episode 348.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two
crazy
ketos.
ketos.
Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. It's a little bit, there's a nip in the air, even here in Florida.
Wait till tonight and tomorrow. Welcome back to Keto Beyond the Couch. If you are new here, welcome. This is Keto Beyond the Couch. Keto Beyond the Couch is all about our subscribers. We do this every Monday at 10 a.m. live whenever possible. And the way we like to do this is we're going to go through our pre-prepared things because we like to celebrate our subscribers and also answer a lot of good questions and comments that we found on our social media, like our Mighty Networks group, which is completely free. You can join there at members.twocrazyketos.com. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to go through everything that we've got pre-prepared. We don't pay too much attention to the chat till the last 10 or 15 minutes. So if you have a question, hold off till then or use the super chat function because that'll highlight our screen and we can answer your questions right away.
We'd love to.
Got back from 4 days of my why.
Truly.
Can't say it any better than that. 4 days of our why. We spent Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday up in Orlando babysitting, or really Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, babysitting our grandkids. And on Friday and Saturday, I took them to Disney. And on Friday, Rachel went. On Saturday, it was just me and Peyton. And wow, I mean, I walked 17 miles with a 3-year-old.
It was awesome.
That's my why.
It was cool. And we were really blessed on Saturday. I want to get into what I got to do on Saturday in addition to what you got to do.
That's in Keto Beyond the Couch.
But what I wanted to share was we actually bumped into a couple who recognized us from, trying keto and carnivore, like being on their, that journey. They bumped up into us. And we're seeing them at the end of that 17 miles. And you were limping a little bit. It was a little rough by that time. And knowing your story, they were like, are you doing okay? And you were able to say like, the injury happened, right? I can't go back in a time machine and erase the fact that I did have a debilitating car accident. What I can change is what I eat and what I do, and I can still walk, carry my grandchildren, like in the midst of all this. And I love the fact that this doesn't stop me.
Yeah.
Thought that was really incredible.
And the thing is that I wasn't having pain in my left ankle where I have all of the injuries. It was my right ankle. But that's out of 30 years of compensating onto one leg.
Yeah.
It's done its toll. And I look at it that at least I can walk. I had a great time, even though on Sunday or Saturday evening, Rachel lost her wallet / her fanny pack, which was also her wallet. So yesterday and this morning, we have spent all of our time canceling every single credit card. We've got it. Rachel's got to go to DMV. Got to remember what's in that thing. And we are praying. If you pray, we're praying that somebody actually turns it in.
Well, because we don't know to the extent of like what all is in that wallet. It was one of those things where I had put my wallet into a fanny pack that could fit into the diaper bag because I'm coming to meet you at the park with a
3-month-old,
with an almost 3-month-old. And so, I'm out of my element. I'm used to my purse. And so we just put the fanny pack right in the top of the diaper bag. That was not my diaper bag. And I'm sure that when we went to like just change the diaper, feed the baby, like we removed the fanny pack.
It was kind of dark out and trying to feed a baby
who's
on
not
a bench.
Used to a bottle.
3 months old.
Oh, so it was so frustrating, but it's one of those things. And there were so many lessons in the midst of this past weekend. Number one, yes, we had frustration, but we had to decide on purpose that even having this real pain in the neck situation happen, we were not going to allow it to steal our joy.
Yeah.
So here we are in the holiday season, you're eating keto. There are going to be things that are going to try to steal your joy in the midst of what you're trying to do. Don't let it. Don't allow that thing to unravel. The other thing that was a big standout for me was the fact that Peyton has been to the Magic Kingdom before.
Yeah, but she was 1.5.
But it's been a while. It's been 1.5. So she's coming into this place that she's already been, and everything is so magical and amazing. And she's like, wow. And she's noticing the details and the colors, and oh my goodness, it's the castle. And so we were just kind of laughing and enjoying the fact that it was all new to her, and she was refreshed. And I thought, boy, I am taking that into my health journey.
Right.
That every single recipe that we revisit, like I bought cranberries to make your cranberry sauce that we've had before, but it can be magical again and refreshed again. I thought that was cool.
So I want to get in. We have a lot of good questions,
Yes.
so I want to kind of get into that. But I do want to say the highlight of my weekend was the best $60 I've ever spent in my life. And that was on Saturday, Peyton and I spent 12 hours in the park.
Right.
And so we ate a carnivore bar, and we had a couple of other little things that I had brought with us. And I decided for lunch, it's her birthday at the end of the month. So my birthday present, like I'm trying to get away from stuff and do experiences.
Right.
And so I took her to the All You Care to Enjoy character meal in, I don't remember the name of
Norway.
In Norway. Matt or Sarah might be able to tell us if they're in here. But
they're at Animal Kingdom.
It's Disney princesses.
Right.
And so the food was not bad. I mean, it wasn't like a buffet where you can really pick and choose. So you have to be a little bit more careful on keto. But what it was is they would announce a princess and they would come over to the table. And because we were celebrating Peyton's birthday, they came to us first. And seeing her face, it was the best $60. And there was a method to my madness because under 3 doesn't pay.
So it was a one price.
And Peyton doesn't turn 3 until November 29th.
But she can eat like Oma.
Yes. And so I only had to pay, but I got to give her this amazing thing, and it was the best $60 that I had to pay. Now, the other thing that we had was Peyton's coffee. And her coffee is actually today's sponsor.
Right.
Now, if you don't know, Peyton's coffee is KetoChow. Peyton absolutely loves KetoChow. If you don't know what KetoChow is, it is a meal replacement shake, but it is so much more because you can turn it into ice cream, make recipes and everything like that. What's cool about KetoChow is the fact that it's not like a Slim Fast or something like that.
No.
It is a meal replacement because it is a protein shake, but it has 1/3 of all the vitamins, electrolytes, and nutrients that you need. Now, you could technically use it as your sole source of nutrition, but I do not recommend that. I think you need to eat food. The real purpose of KetoChow is for that on-the-go meal. Instead of going to McDonald's or going in the refrigerator and eating something you shouldn't eat, we grab a KetoChow. What makes it unique is the fact that you actually get to determine the type of fat and the amount of fat. So you can have a 300-calorie meal or you can have a 900-calorie meal, and you get to use good healthy fats like butter or heavy cream or avocado oil, even beef tallow. And Peyton loves it. She calls it her coffee. And that is how we start out our day sometimes.
Oma has
she absolutely loves it. Now, I do want to give a little disclaimer is that according to KetoChow's website, it is not meant for children.
It's being served to children at our house.
But I'm going to tell you, my grandchildren do just fine on it. And they thrive. I mean, Peyton thrives on it. And I will also say this. They have to legally say that. But can we also talk about the fact that why is this not for children when it is literally protein, fat, vitamins, and electrolytes? But Dino Nuggets from Purdue and Tyson are children, are okay for kids?
Yeah.
Or Kellogg's Frosted Flakes? So we'll just put that out there.
Right.
So if you are interested in getting some KetoChow, use the link that's up on the screen or down below. And when you do that, you will get 10% off your order on anything, including salty, that is not a subscription.
Speaking of Dino Nuggets, we looked for the Real Good Foods ones.
Yeah,
that are
we're going to
now
do a video
out.
once we can get them.
I'm excited at the prospect of them. So the bad news is, like, we didn't have Dino Nuggets to serve up to Peyton, so she just ate beef.
Yeah. Yesterday morning, she was like, I'm hungry. Okay, 3 hamburgers.
Like I said, she can eat like Oma.
Yeah. Let's jump right into Keto Beyond the Couch. We're going to start off with this post from Sean.
Sean Bradley.
He said, before keto, my body used to whisper this to me every day, just getting in and out of bed. It is so nice that my body now shouts, is that all you got? From going to the gym to lifting and moving things around to the house to walking 2 to 3 miles every day. It's so nice to not be tired and hurting all the time. And it's a little meme that says, I'm at the age where the next day my body whispers me, please don't do that again. And again, I look at my weekend. I had several people comment that like you're doing Disney, because I'm on lines and stuff, and they're like, you're doing Disney with a 3-year-old, just you and her,
toting her everywhere because she knows that we'll just carry her.
I mean, I did go buy a stroller. We went to Walmart, and like I'm becoming Rachel's mom. I'm like, I have to have my own. I don't want to have to rely on getting mom and dad's all the time. And I found one on clearance, like a jogging stroller. It's normally like $200. We got it for $70. And so she was in that, but on the lines, I had to hold her because I don't want her running away. I also forgot what it's like to have a 3-year-old that has to go potty every 5 minutes, but you're on a 50-minute long wait line.
Sure.
You know, but again, I couldn't have done that 8 years ago.
Well, we used to, like, you could do one day and then you would have to recover so hard after that. So the fact that it's like, you know, especially in the RV, like we set up the entire house, then you do all of the things, we do all of our little adventures, then you go collect the house again. And we can go day after day after day. And it is really awesome. It is so awesome to feel better in my body as I'm getting close to 50 than I did when I was 20. Yeah. That's amazing to get up every day, like Sean Bradley is saying, and say like, yeah, there was a time in my life where it was like, why? Like, why are we getting up? To, is that all you got? Like, let's go.
I saw Kelly asking Chris Barrett, how does the new peppermint compare to the old one? I think they're very similar. I don't notice a difference. I tried them back to back. In fact, I just made an ice cream because I'm working on a recipe using KetoChow for ice cream to make it completely scoopable at all times. I don't notice a difference at all. That is something to let you guys know that with KetoChow right now, as of last Wednesday, the Christmas flavors or winter flavors are back in stock, and peppermint is amazing. You couldn't even get it last year.
No.
So it's really nice to have that back.
Don't miss it.
Next one we have is from Sandy.
Hi, Sandy.
When I tell our doctors about our way of eating, I tell them we prioritize nutrient-dense food, especially since my husband doesn't usually feel hungry and has trouble keeping weight on. At the last weigh-in, my husband's cardiologist, the doctor commented about my husband's small weight gain, and he was pleased. I credit adding a KetoChow with 6 tablespoons of butter to his lunch. And that, again, is...
That is awesome. You know, what a great way to present what you're doing to a doctor. We talk all the time about, like, how do you talk to people about your way of eating? When you say, I mean, we've said, hey, you know, we're trying to reduce sugar, ultra-processed foods, take the wrapper off things, whole food approach. I love what Sandy is saying. I prioritize nutrient density. That's for everybody, whether it is her husband that actually like needs to put some weight on, or it's somebody who needs to take some weight off, that we are eliminating the frivolous things. And depending on your season of life, what you're going through right now, frivolous looks different. Yeah. Right? For some people, like what you need to incorporate and what you don't, like looks different. But nutrient density being the priority, how might you argue with that?
Yes.
You know, what is the doctor going to come back with and say, you know what, I feel like you need more trash in here, right? No, we need more nutrient density. I'm trying to get the most bang for my buck with every bite.
Next one we have is from Wild Zen.
Hey, Wild Zen, even if people have fixed their metabolism with keto, food addiction is a whole other ball game. Speaking only for myself, this holiday, I will mostly abstain from making a bunch of keto treats or buying a bunch of keto chips because I can not moderate without causing massive guilt and setbacks for myself. I'm a volume eater and I have found addiction or food addiction on top of that. I eat 2 very large meals per day, intermittent fasting 16 to 18 hours every day to keep it all in check. I stopped eating at 2, three at the latest. Also because I have gastritis. If I buy the treats and they are in the house, I will eat them, and sometimes all of them in one day. I wish it wasn't that way, but that's where I am at currently. It's easier for me to abstain than to try to moderate. And before you weigh in on that, I just want to share, so interesting that you're bringing this up, because again, I never know what you're going to bring out as from comments, but today's Substack is about just this. We need to understand that a lot of times our disordered eating is not the root of the problem. It's the fruit of the problem. And there's some other things going on that we may need to address. And different seasons, particularly something like a holiday season, will really start bearing a lot of fruit that's disordered eating, right? That we do things that we don't want to do. And so we may need to really rein things in, keep it in check. And while then I'm going to say, man, knowing what you know about yourself, that's the time, man, you're doing what you can to control things. Now let's look at the root of the problem. Why did things get this way? When did I start beginning to do this?
Well, and it's interesting because this is something we actually talked about over the weekend for you and not myself. But you asked, why did we get this way? Well, we're going to address that in a little while when we get to today's topic of one of the problems with under eating.
Sure.
And you're going to be shocked at some of the stuff that I found in my research.
Excellent.
But we talked about this over the weekend, right? You have this type of a problem of when you get a little bit, you said like you create this recipe and now like you're like, don't introduce me to something that if I can't eat like all of it in a sitting. And I'm like, well, like, when I create a ice cream recipe that is not KetoChow, it is made with a lot of heavy cream. That is not a low calorie dessert. That is a dessert. You're not supposed to sit down and eat the entire quart of ice cream in a sitting. But we get disordered, and there are several reasons.
Sure.
But there is one major reason, which we're going to get into in a little while.
I'm excited.
Next one is from Liz.
Hi, Liz.
I haven't found it to be more expensive to eat healthy. Now that I'm eating the proper human diet and cooking at home, my food bills have decreased significantly. I'm just really not that hungry anymore. And for me, it's been learning the difference between hunger and craving. You taught me a lot with your thought process. A tin of sardines doesn't sound good. If a tin of sardines doesn't sound good, you're probably not really that hungry. That's a little extreme, but I managed to catch the general concept, and it's changed my life.
Good.
Thank you for your common sense approach to adopting a healthier lifestyle. Yes, that is extreme, and I would have to be pretty much like on death's door to eat that tin of sardines. I will say that. But that is the thing, is like we have to think, are we really hungry or are we craving? There is a difference, and getting in touch with our body and our signals will help you with that, because a lot of times we're like, I'm hungry. Our hormones are kind of interesting, and this is one of the reasons that I really encourage people to change up their eating and their times that they're eating on a regular basis. Don't get into this habit of I eat every day at 8 o'clock, noon, 6 o'clock. Switch it up constantly. And a perfect example is our son, Anthony. When he was younger, you could literally set your watch by him saying to you, I'm hungry.
I knew what time noon was.
Like he would come in every day at 12 o'clock. I'm hungry. It's time to eat. Because what happened, your body literally gets programmed to that. Now, here's the thing is if you do that, here's the funny thing. If you wait 10, 15 minutes, you'll no longer be hungry many times, unless your body is actually craving food. But a lot of times it's mental, because our body releases these hormones that says it's time to eat because it's used to releasing those hormones at that time. The other thing is, I agree. Like people who tell us that keto or carnivore, the proper human diet, is too expensive, you may be paying more money for your food. Yeah, I will absolutely admit that, depending on what food you're eating. But you're cutting out from areas that you were spending before.
You're just not noticing it.
And so you've got to you can't look at, okay, well, before my meal was $4 because I was eating ramen noodles and a can of chicken noodle soup from Campbell's, and now I'm eating, ground beef. Yes, the ground beef costs more than that, but what are you not eating? the potato chips, the cookies, the Starbucks drink that I was spending $7 a day for each of us on,
Well, besides that,
and medication.
I was going to say the medication, because yes, I was buying yakisoba noodles. And so on the grocery side, it looked like I'm spending 50 cents, but I was, $100, $200 a month on over-the-counter medication to counterbalance with Pepto-Bismol and acid reflux medicine and all of these other things, what that crap food was doing. So I wasn't getting away with a cheaper grocery bill. One thing that really stands out about Liz's comment reminds me of my mom. She was a teacher for many years. And one of the things, when you had a kid before you that was like having a fit, like they had just worked themselves upset, she would ask them a question that would take them out of the moment. In the middle of their fit pitching, she would ask a question like, what color socks are you wearing? That disruptive question would bring them immediately out of the fit pitching, because they would have to think about it and look to see what color socks indeed do I have on. And so think about that in terms of when you get hit with a craving that you're like, it feels a little bit like a fit pitch that's going on internally, that you're like, I want it, I want it, I want it. You're in the midst of having a fit and you feel like the only thing that you can do is just give that fit what it wants. If you ask a disruptive question on par with what color socks are you wearing, you ask it, are you hungry enough to eat a can of sardines? It's a silly thing, but it is enough of a disruption that maybe you can stop that train of thought and be like, well, wait a second. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is crazy. I'm in a moment of fighting and fit pitching over cravings, and I really don't authentically need this right now.
Yeah. The other thing is with keto and carnivore, I understand. I mean, believe me, we feel the pressure too.
Sure.
With like beef prices going up and everything else. And there's two things there. And again, this is why I encourage people to please support your local ranchers. But there was a comment, and I know that this is going to get me in trouble, and I don't want to get too political, but here is the problem. For the United States, for the most part, has been importing a tremendous amount of beef into the United States because people want cheap beef.
Sure.
Right? From Mexico. Well, we have now stopped importing beef from Mexico, and this was not a political decision.
No, they have sick
this is
cows
because right now there is a rampant disease going through. It's a flesh-eating bacteria that is destroying the Mexican cattle, and we don't want that here in the United States. We already have to worry about it infiltrating into Texas and stuff, right? So we've stopped importing beef, which is one of the reasons that beef prices are going through the roof, which is one of the reasons that the administration is like, let's start bringing beef in from Argentina, from Argentina, because that will, at least they're an ally and we can bring it down.
They'll fill that.
Do we, as a country, need to put more money to our ranchers? Yes, we do. And that's why we, as people who eat mostly beef, need to do the best we can to support those local ranchers by buying beef from ranchers. But here's the problem. If our government immediately took all the money and said, we're going to give it to the ranchers, it's 2 years from birthing of a calf to slaughter.
Right.
What do we do for the next 2 years?
It's not like a chicken that they raise them up and, you'll have something new. And
I mean, we saw what happened with eggs, right?
Yeah.
When they had to destroy all of the chickens, euthanize all the chickens.
Laying hens are different than meat birds.
It takes 6 months to go from a day old to getting eggs.
Right.
Well, that's why the egg prices went up. So when the chicken, when they were able to replenish the laying hens, that's when eggs started coming down.
So, I mean, obviously, ideally, every single hamburger we get would be from the United States. I mean, that's ideally, right? And we'd like to see more of that share be to the American rancher. But as when the void is left, we've got to fill it with something.
We've got to fill it somewhere.
Otherwise, we're going to be paying even more money, as crazy as that sounds.
And I'm going to tell you that if you're in a situation like us, I mean, listen, we don't have a lot of money.
No.
And we're buying, I was in Walmart. Was it Walmart? Where did we go? Sam's Club. We bought special meat.
It was on sale.
In fact, I've got to cook the rest of it up today because the Best By date is tomorrow.
Right.
And it was like, okay, they were mini sliders. But it was in the fresh beef section, but they're like this big,
sure.
And then you can press them down to make a slider.
Smash burger.
But they were on clearance for $2.58 a pound.
That's pretty good.
So listen, is it going to be the best quality beef? No. Is it better than eating a bowl of macaroni and cheese?
Yes.
Absolutely. So the worst quality beef is still better than eating the standard American diet. So in this pinch, I would rather you eat chicken. I know people are going to be like, chicken's not as good. It's still meat. It's still meat.
What we don't want to do is switch back and say, if you can't eat that Panda Massage beef, like you just go eat yakisoba noodles. That is ridiculous logic. That is crazy. And if somebody says, if we can't eat this, then you suck, that's on them. You know, when someone pronounces like, this is the way you must do things, I have to take a step back and be like, you are not paying my bills. You have no authority over me. And thankfully, as somebody who is keto, I am capable of going to a restaurant, and just because the waitress or waiter sets breadsticks down on my table does not mean that I have to pick it up and chew on it.
Right.
So it's the same thing when someone puts something down into my lap or into my feed, or a comment, or, you know, has a reaction or says something that says, if you don't do it the way that I'm saying you must, then you suck, or you're wrong, or you just, I'm not going to allow you to move forward living this way. That is not true. And I don't even have to chew on or meditate on and allow my heart to be vulnerable to that comment. Right. I just don't. I can discard it.
Next one is from The Carted Path.
That's cool. Cool name.
The gallbladder information is false from my personal research and experience.
Okay.
Gallbladder issues develop because of high-fat diets, specifically not high cholesterol, not a low-fat diet. Also, high estrogen, such as a woman becoming pregnant, which is my personal issue. When my gallbladder occurred, I was overweight, had high cholesterol, a full-term pregnancy, and months later, gallbladder removed.
What card are you carrying on this
well,
carded path?
Here's what I'm going to say. With all due respect, you're completely wrong.
Yeah.
If you do a little bit of research, you will see that, okay, let's talk about the gallbladder. The gallbladder is a muscle. The gallbladder only pushes out your bile and everything when it has fat. Without fat, it literally goes into atrophy. You end up getting sludge. It is well documented that the cause of gallbladder problems is high cholesterol, but more importantly, low fat, high triglycerides, high sugar diet. The incidence of of a lot of gallbladders being removed is in direct correlation with the amount of fat people reducing, and it went up when we began eating a low fat diet. Now, do some people who begin eating a keto carnivore diet still have to have a gallbladder removed? Yes. Why? It had nothing to do with keto carnivore. The problem was already there. It just got highlighted. But many people can actually reverse it. Dr. Berry has talked about this to length. Now, I will agree in one thing here, and that is, now, first of all, let's remind you, we're not doctors, nurses, or health professionals, but we do research a lot. Everything we talk about is based on our own knowledge, experience, and talking to people who are doctors. But this is very easy to investigate. Yes, high estrogen can exacerbate gallbladder issues. And pregnant women can end up with that.
Sure.
Some of the major causes of that is not the pregnancy, but it is things like getting HRT, obesity, high sugar diet, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, birth control pills. All of those can increase estrogen. So when you're talking about that, okay, you said, well, it's occurred because you were pregnant. You had every single cause of gallbladder issues that increases estrogen. Overweight, if you look it up, being overweight can cause problems with the gallbladder. High cholesterol causes problems with the gallbladder. And then you're pregnant, which increases estrogen. A pregnant woman who is in otherwise normal health can end up with some issues with gallbladder, but it reverses after they deliver.
Right.
Okay. But the thing is that Low-fat diets are what cause problems with gallbladder, not high-fat. High-fat diets actually get your gallbladder to work. Gallbladder problems come because from the building up of gallstones, which is one of the issues that pregnant women have because of what happens with the high estrogen. But let's look at also the estrogen that's in foods, using plastic water bottles where you're increasing phytoestrogens and all of that stuff. Next one is from Carrie.
Hi, Carrie.
I love y'all. I mean it. And you are entitled to your opinions about dietary issues. Everyone is. I understand what you mean about being an opportunistic carnivore. However, there are people who have to, for health issues alone, not weight loss or desire, eat carnivore lion lifestyles. I don't think anyone would choose it just cause. I disagree there. I do better right now as a meat-heavy based ketovore, but I have a choice. And I owe the ability to make that choice to the proper human diet influencers like y'all, Serious Keto, through whom I've found Keto, y'all, and KetoChow and Dr. B, who I found through you, and so on and so on. Choice is good. I agree. Choice is good.
It is.
And listen, we're not against carnivore. What we're against is the
Dogma.
dogmatic carnivores who say if you don't do carnivore this way, you're not doing it right, and stop calling yourself a carnivore. I will stand forever and say there has never, ever been a human civilization that is 100% carnivore. Close, but never, because we're opportunistic eaters. Yes, there are some people who
are deciding on purpose.
There's a lot of people who are deciding on purpose. A lot of which because of the dogma that's being pushed. You're seeing more and more professional keto influence. I'm not talking about us, okay? We're not professionals. We're crazy. Right. I'm talking about doctors who have been carnivore for years going, wait a second. We need to tweak some things.
Personally.
Because we are not carnivores. The lion diet came about from someone trying to figure out what was going on with their body. And so the best thing to do was it was an elimination diet to eliminate everything except for eating ruminant meat and salt.
Canceled out all the noise so that you could do the experiment.
So then you can experiment.
Do you stay in experiment mode the rest of your life, or do you maybe start adding some things back in slowly as you have collected data? That's where we kind of find ourselves. And how long that experiment is also can vary from person to person. There can be people that are like, man, I'm lion diet for 5 years, and then start to expand the palate to like other meats. I mean, there's a lot of leeway. Once you've gone to a very extreme, it may sound like, amazing every single time you sort of like widen the tent, right? Because if you've maybe for 5 years, like you're only eating steak and salt, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to choose even different cuts of beef, and then move out from only ruminant animals to other meats, right. Like as we see the expansion, like and contraction right. of these things. And what I challenge everybody to do is just keep in mind that, praise God, we are going to be hopefully in this life longer. And so we have some time to expand and contract. The important thing is to know that as you ebb and flow and change, it's going to be on a different timetable than all the people around you.
Right. And again, because there's never been a human civilization that's 100% carnivore, there's no studies on it.
No.
And so we are the study. And again, if you look at, without naming names of professionals, and I mean doctors, right?
Right.
Who have been carnivore for a long time and now are shifting away and adding other things. If you also look, these are people who have been eating a carnivore type lifestyle for 10 plus years, and they're starting to go, wait a second, we need to do some tweaks. Maybe this wasn't the best thing. They're not saying go back to the standard American diet. They're saying I may need to change up some of the types of meat I eat. I think that we need to add in some vegetables, not every day, not even every week, but occasionally. And that is our whole point. I don't know how I can stress this anymore. We are not against carnivore. We are against the dogma of carnivore is the only way. That is all we are against. But we eat 95% meat. And I think that that's okay. My problem is when someone goes, you're not doing it right because you shouldn't, that every plant poisons you. That if you eat garlic, you're poisoning yourself. If you put basil, you're poisoning yourself. And I will strongly disagree with that.
Well, my only thing is too is the dogma, because again, there's some people that want to really live in like this really ferociously dogmatic atmosphere. Like some people really want that. They want that, I think they would call it structure. And so they want to go to that church, right? But what I want to make sure there's room for is for you personally to feel like you mentally have the freedom to pivot if you need to. What I worry about is somebody who's like, man, I started attending this kind of dogmatic group. And when I need to pivot because I feel like I need to expand for some reason, and sometimes it's to pursue a health result that they're looking to find, but they're afraid that they are going to lose their friends. They're afraid that they're going to lose their community. We say so much, the community is so vital. It's so important for your health journey. And if you feel like making a change on your plate is going to be a barrier to that community, you're not going to do what you need to on your plate because
and even if you do, you're afraid to say it. And I'm
right.
seeing this. I know we have a lot of questions
sure.
left, but I'm seeing with some of these doctors who have a social media presence coming out and saying, I've made some tweaks, and they're getting beat up by their own community, say like, you're a traitor.
It's like, that's
I
true.
mean, it's horrible.
Right.
Okay, next one we have is from Gino.
Hey, Gino.
I have a question. You mentioned almond milk being high in oxalates, which it is, but you also recommend collagen peptides. So my question on collagen peptides is this. They are known to be very high in a unique amino acid called hydroxyproline, and that amino acid is directly metabolized in the body as an oxalate. So would that also be a potential cause of concern, just like almond milk? The answer is actually no. So, and also it's not just collagen peptides, but it's collagen in itself. Okay, so here's the thing about the oxalates in collagen. Okay, first of all, this would be endogenous, not exogenous. So in other words, it's not dietary, it's endogenous. Your body will make it. So what happens is your body is going to metabolize hydroxyproline, and a portion of that will be converted to glycoxylate.
We can't say the word.
I can't say it right now. Which then can become an oxalate in your body. But your body is making it internally. Now, here's the cool thing. Vitamin C actually pushes this into safer pathways, so it doesn't actually get dumped into your body the same way.
Right, B6.
So all you need to do is make sure you're consuming enough vitamin B6, you're eating meat, you're good. Stay hydrated and get your magnesium. There's not any issue. Dietary oxalates like nut flours, they hit the gut all at one time. Okay, so they literally just go in, they hit your gut, they bind with calcium in your intestines, they irritate your gut lining, and then they go into your bloodstream, and that's what's causing things like kidney stones and joint pain and inflammation. Endogenous ketones are made in the liver. It's not the same thing.
Ones, yeah.
Okay, so
call it the oxalates.
Just to give you a little example, okay, and you're going to find this one interesting, and I actually pulled up some of the numbers here, okay? A half a cup of almonds contains 210 milligrams of oxalates.
Yikes.
A half a cup of almonds.
I have eaten a half a cup of almonds.
You eat more than a half a cup of almonds.
I know.
40 grams of collagen peptides every day will give you less than 15 milligrams of oxalate equivalents.
Wow.
Okay, so we're not even close. And again, that's not even being dumped directly into your gut, okay, because your liver is making it. 2 cups of bone broth will give you between 4 to 8 milligrams. Also, on a side note, if you are going to consume nuts, and this is where it really gets bad, because when you start keto, everyone's like, eat almonds, almond flour,
almond milk.
And so almonds are the worst nut to consume on keto. Now, they are low in carbs.
Yes.
But they're extremely high in oxalates. So just to give you an idea, like I said, like you're going to get I think it's half a cup of almonds is like 250 milligrams of oxalates.
Not really.
250 milligrams. Okay. Cashews only are 90 to 120. I take this with what you want.
I do love cashews.
Yes, but cashews are higher in sugar.
Yes, I know.
I'd rather you eat the higher sugar cashew than eat the almonds, especially if you have oxalate problems.
Joe?
Peanuts have 770 to 100 milligrams. The best nuts are walnuts, crisp air, macadamias, and pecans, which have less than 10 milligrams of oxalates in a half a cup serving.
Well, me and Chris will eat macadamia nuts, and we'll let you have the walnuts.
Listen, I like all nuts, but so to answer your question, Gino, do not worry. We're kind of like not seeing the trees here. Like that, it's not something to worry about. The collagen and the benefits of consuming collagen far outweigh any potential little bit of endogenous oxalates that your body may produce from it.
Did you just try to make a Rachel reference if you can't see the forest for the trees?
Yeah.
I'm rubbing off on you.
Yeah, you are. But do you understand? Like we have to look at like the benefits versus the cons. Like, remember, what are the pros? What are the cons? Make a list. Yes, no. The list of everything that your body is going to benefit from with collagen far outweighs the possibility that your body may produce 15 milligrams of oxalates from it. So it's just not something to worry about. Please consume collagen. It's great for your hair, your joints, your nails, your digestion. You need collagen and fat. Next one is from Nancy.
Nancy Tanner.
We had an amazing event on Saturday. Community is what it is all about. This is one of the most loving, encouraging, supportive group of friends I could ever ask for. Each and every one of them showed their appreciation and love for each other. It takes teamwork to make this happen. Special thanks to everyone who helped with all the delicious food and helping with cleanup and all of the contributions that were donated for prizes. I'm forever grateful for this team of Central Florida Ketos. Stronger together, healthier together. Look at this.
What a beautiful display
you know
of
what
people.
Is cool?
I had probably just left the meetup because I had to go and meet you. John Paul and Michelle were calling it Parker. But it was such an amazing meetup. And I really want to brag on Nancy and Sarah Joy and Matt, like, for putting this together. It is a lot of work, but it is such an amazing, incredible event. It's so awesome. People actually fly in from other states in order to attend this because it's just that good. And there was so many people that were sharing their story of transformation. It is such an encouraging group. It's just amazing. And we had fun games because, Nancy and Sarah Joy, both of them, it's important to them, not just for us to get together and eat food, but also to see that this community can also emphasize movement and getting stronger in our bodies, as well as what's going on in our tummies. And there were rewards. We even, we had to play games, and for doing certain movement activities, we got the chance to play Plinko for the chance to win prizes. And it was just awesome to be there. And I gotta say, big challenge for everybody. We actually had 2 people from the Central Florida Ketos that have gotten married because they met at this meetup, and then they went on to get married. And I thought, wow, this is incredible.
What really, people ask us, why do you do what you do? It's that, because honestly, that spawned from us a couple years ago, literally going, let's go to Orlando and say, who wants to go to a restaurant?
And a lot of people, like Sarah,
a lot of people met
Joy,
and found that they all lived in the area together.
Yes.
And it's evolved into this. And this is why we do what we do. We came up with this stupid idea in 2019 of let's focus on community because people need community. And it warms my heart to see it.
And so y'all have taken that the baton and carried it so much further and so much more, intentionally than we could ever have taken it. Because that's the thing. I mean, like, we can share the idea, but the hard work is what all of y'all are doing. We cannot do it all. And so I just want to just encourage you. It can begin small. It doesn't have to be that, like, the first time that you help to be a catalyst for community, it means that you have to start the ground with 50 people at your meetup. Begin with meeting over coffee or inviting people in your area to go out to lunch together. Community doesn't have to be hard. Just start.
Let's take a quick fade to black. Okay, let's get into the next one from Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
And this kind of leads us into today's topic of undereating on keto and carnivore.
We can do it.
Rachel.
Yes.
You said that you ate only 500 calories for 2 years and you gained 70 pounds. From the research I've done, that is impossible. You would be in a calorie deficit, and how do you gain weight that way? Anorexics continue to lose weight on a calorie deficit. And you must have been miscounting your calories because your body doesn't work like that. Please clear this up. So I'm going to take the lead on this because, number one, I was a little insulted because you're basically saying Rachel's lying.
Right.
Okay. And I can tell you as the person who lived through that, no, she's not. Was she measuring and counting? No. So were there days where she was eating 500? Maybe there were days that it was 700. Yes. But
well, it was
overall,
it was every single day
was the same thing,
measured the same exact time.
But you had oatmeal
and water
and water, and then you had yogurt. Okay, but there were days where it may have been 700 because it blooms more, or the way the sugars come out, or maybe it was a rounded cup. But it was 3 times a day, a half a cup of oatmeal uncooked, soaked in water, but it became like 5 cups cooked.
I even
because
used
of the way
the
she did
same bowl to eat it out of.
Okay, but here's the thing. This is not unheard of, okay? And this is the problem with under eating on keto. And we're going to get into what we were talking about a little bit earlier, okay? But here's what happens. If you eat below your basal metabolic rate for really long periods of time, several things happen. Number one, your metabolic rate will slow. It's called adaptive thermogenesis. Then your reproductive hormones will begin to flatline. Your thyroid the output like drops, almost nothing. Your stress hormones rise, your cortisol goes up, your NEAT movements, which if you don't know what that is, it's your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Like
shaking your
they're movements that you do that you don't even know you're doing. Like talking with your hands, pacing, just little things that your body is always it's literally, you're not exercising, it's just movement you don't even realize you're doing. Those all contribute to your metabolism. That goes away. Your digestion slows down, and then you begin to hold on to water. And when you are consistently under eating, and I mean massively under eating, like well below your BMR, you will hold on to so much water, it could be 20 to 30 pounds of water. At this point, when you do this, even an intake of 100 or 200 calories more will lead to fat gain. Now, a lot of that gaining is water, but also it's a decrease of muscle. And then what happens is if you even eat 100 or 200 calories extra in a day, or like what you did, and you've talked about this, on your birthday, you had a piece of birthday cake. Well, now you've just eaten 500 calories, all goes to fat.
I didn't even eat a piece of birthday cake. On my birthday, I would get 2 chicken breasts from Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah.
That
all goes to fat because you've increased more than what your body has gone. This is the problem with under eating. Under eating leads to so many problems. Okay. So you have wherever your normal eating is, which for women is generally should be somewhere around 2,000 calories. If you're not an exercise, if you just are regularly moving around, like sedentary, but getting up, walking, having that kind of stuff, that's 2,000 calories for a woman. So what happens is our body wants to maintain homeostasis, which is wherever you are eating at that level, your body will try to burn off that fuel. Okay, so if you're eating at 2,000 calories, your body is going to try to burn off 2,000 calories worth of fuel. That's where NEAT movements come in. If you eat slightly over the 2,000, your NEAT movements will increase because your body is trying to get into it. It's like Caleb, when he was little, if he ate sugar, he would go through the store doing like Star Wars movements and stuff.
Trying to get rid of it.
Because his body is trying to get rid of that excess energy.
We see that with all toddlers.
When you undereat, okay, your body will slow down the metabolism to match that. It wants to remain at homeostasis. That is why when you go on a diet, you start restricting the amount of fuel you're eating. So let's say you go from 2,000 calories to 1,700, you'll lose weight. And what happens after a couple weeks? You flatline, you hit a stall. So what do? You lower it even more. Well, you can't keep lowering it because you have a BMR. The BMR, your basal metabolic rate, is what your body needs just to survive. Like you're in a coma, you're not getting out of bed. Okay, you literally are not getting out of bed. You don't move, you don't get up to go to the bathroom, nothing. You're using a bedpan. That's your BMR. If you consistently eat below that, your body starts shutting stuff down. You're losing your hair and all that. Everything that I mentioned, the reproductive hormones, all of that, Rachel went through all that and she's still paying for it.
Yeah.
That's why by 40, she's going into menopause already. At the age of 40, she began menopause. That's not normal. But she screwed her body up so badly from 2 years, really 3 years of undereating, because the first year she lost the weight.
Because again, remember, because you're pointing to anorexia being something that that's under eating. Anorexia can get to start not eating at all. What I was doing was every single day eating, consistently under eating. That's very different than not eating at all. I was not going for a month where I was not eating any calories. I was eating every single day, but what I was doing was consistently under eating to a devastating point.
Now, there are studies on this. And this is the really interesting thing. One of the most popular studies is the Minnesota starvation study.
Oof, would not want to be a part of that study.
Okay, here's the thing. The Minnesota starvation study was done I think it was in the 40s and 50s.
Okay.
Guess who actually did the Minnesota starvation study?
Tell me.
Ansel Keys. Now, for the most part, you can't stand anything about Ansel Keys because he's the one who put us in this situation.
Yes.
But here he was correct. The purpose of this study were basically what happens to soldiers if they undereat.
Okay.
Here was the result of the study. They basically ate 50% less than what they needed to survive. And then they had to do exercise, go on walks, basically stuff that a soldier would do. Mm. It led to weight gain despite undereating.
Wow.
Intense cravings after they had a diet. So now they've stopped dieting. Their food cravings went through the roof.
This all sounds very familiar.
Okay. Their metabolic rate slowed by 50%. Okay. Wow. Then in addition, they had emotional instability when they were undereating.
That sounds check.
They had after they were done with the study, all of the participants had severe obsessions with food.
Y'all, does this not sound like your journey as well?
They then continued with binge restricting cycles where they would eat and binge and then not eat anymore. So they basically, that is binge and purge, right? They would eat a whole lot.
And then punish.
And then they would punish themselves. They then, for the rest of their lives, began with having difficulty maintaining weight loss when they relied on any kind of restriction rather than nutrient density. So they didn't focus on nutrient density. If they focused on any kind of restricting food, they couldn't maintain their weight loss. And on top of that, it really ended up showing why protein adequacy and your metabolic healing are really essential, and why eat less, move more is ignorant advice.
Wow.
So Ansel Keys with the horrible 7-country study. This study is never talked about.
Well, you have to believe that you don't get into a position of notoriety that you could even be leaned on to do a study unless you had built, maybe some positive work before to get you into the position to be the guy that they tap to do the study. And then probably after you've had this like really actually good success because you did things responsibly, and then you just wanted to stay in like favored status, and you cut corners once you got to the top, and that was wrong. I think, but you see that in other like areas of, when someone's considered an expert because they built a reputable career, and then when they were tapped for something that was a lot more public, they screwed it up because they didn't want to like lose momentum. But I mean, that's amazing. And I wish we would talk about this more because it does explain why people who have been chronic dieters, like I think a lot of us have been, where you've been on Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig and Nutrisystem and, Deal a Meal and all of those things, where we try to really just zero in on under eating and let under eating on purpose and still keep that mom schedule or keep that work schedule in the midst of chronic under eating has resulted in our later years having a real struggle to keep weight off unless we are, slashing those calories.
Now, I should mention, we have like 6 more to go through in like 5 or 10 minutes, but I should mention also their diet was almost non-existent of fat and protein. It was a higher carbohydrate diet,
which is
focusing on things like rutabaga and stuff like that. They were not eating protein. They were barely eating protein or fat because, again, the whole thing was, what happens to military if they can't eat and they're out in the field?
Well, and what do we lean on but like brown
and
rice?
It's one of the things that led to MREs and stuff like that.
Wow.
So again, if you look at your diet, what was your diet?
Oatmeal.
Your diet was a high carbohydrate, almost non-existent fat and protein diet, which is why your skin turned green, you lost all your muscle. And so all of these years later, yeah, Rachel can now eat 2,500 calories and not gain weight. But she suffers from so many things that, again, full-blown menopause by the age of 40 and the constant fluctuations, the binging, the constantly thinking about food that I have to just binge on a giant plate of food. That is all a result of the 3 years of under eating. Well,
Yeah.
3, because 1 year you lost weight and then 2 years you gained weight. So it was 3 years of you eating that lifestyle.
Isn't that crazy?
So please stop under eating.
Yeah.
Please stop under eating. It does long-term damage to our body.
Like Joe is sharing, OMAD ruined my metabolism and it still hasn't come back.
Yeah.
You're still fighting back from that.
It takes years, if at all, can be fixed.
Yes, Penny, the Keto Brains deal is still on
for the whole month.
For the entire month, and they have sweetened the deal. If you, I think it's 2 Krazy Ketos mug, along with our link, but use that coupon code when you check out, and that will get you 20% off your order of $49.99 or more, and you will get a free mug.
Well, I think it's 20% off, and then $49.99 or more gets you the free mug.
Yeah. Exactly.
Next one is from Sandra.
Hey,
we'll blow through these real quick. I made a discovery in Chronometer. It's probably like this in other apps. 1 large egg is 50 grams. After watching a Anisha video, I decided to weigh mine, as sometimes I have commercial eggs and sometimes farm eggs. If I track my Kirkland large eggs, the 3 I ate would weigh 150 grams or 18 grams of protein. Instead, my 3 eggs actually weighed 169 grams with 20 grams of protein. Maybe needless or tedious for some, but for a person who's trying to struggle to get enough protein and is tracking, it may make a difference at the end of the day. I wonder how many other things would be different or more accurate if I weighed each item. So weighing can help. Okay. But one thing is, again, like, let's not get too detailed here, but I'm going to tell you, because here's the thing is, nobody knows exactly. Every egg, okay, a 50-gram egg, which would be considered a large egg, is going to have between 6 and 7 grams. You could literally take 250-gram eggs, and one have 6.3 grams of protein, and one have like 6.9 grams. It's between 6 to 7. That 1 extra gram of protein, like, our body's not that smart. I mean, it's smart, but it's not like you ate 1 more gram of protein than you needed. It doesn't, it's when we get into massive amounts. The real difference, though, in eggs, and the reason I wanted to bring this up is because you said sometimes you're buying commercial eggs and sometimes there's farm eggs. With eggs, the protein is very consistent no matter what a chicken eats. So whether it is a pasture-raised chicken like ours, they're all out here right now grazing through the grass, whether they're just grazing through the grass eating the bugs here, or we've got them following cows eating all the bugs out of manure, or you've got them in a feedlot and eating nothing but soy and corn, their protein in their eggs is almost always the same. The difference comes in the yolk.
Right.
So a commercial egg generally has a smaller yolk, and a pasture-raised egg has a larger yolk. What ends up happening is the fat content in a pasture-raised egg is sometimes double of a commercial egg.
That's a lot.
So like literally, like you can go from 3 grams of fat in a commercial large egg to about 5.5 grams of fat in a pasture-raised chicken's egg. And then also there's all the little micronutrients and the vitamins and stuff all go much higher. And that is the first change. You start keto, the very first change you should make, aside from eliminating seed oils, the very first change you should make is eggs. And stop buying grocery store commercial eggs. That's the very first change that I will tell anybody to make. If you can't get all the way up to pasture raised because of cost, at least buy organic, because organic eggs, they are not allowed to be fed GMO feed and stuff. But you really want to get to pasture-raised eggs, okay? And again, if you can find any kind of local backyard farmer or anything near you, you're generally going to pay less money for a pasture-raised egg than you're going to pay in a grocery store.
I just want to say thank you.
Gone are the 79 cent a dozen eggs.
Thanks to Lynn, who likes my shirt. It says, follow the word, not the herd. So cute. Joe got that at Buc-ee's.
Next one is from Robin.
Hey, Robin.
There is a use for milk and cereal. Kids sometimes wake up before their parents, and depending on their age, they could probably pour a bowl of cereal and some milk, but they may not be able to cook bacon and eggs. Absolutely.
That is great. Yeah.
Like for the people who say, you like, don't give them
I love that, Robin.
that cereal.
Well, and the same thing, kids come home from school. Yes. You know, we were 70s and 80s kids. You know, I got home from school before my mom got home from work. And so what happens when they get home? I was very strictly told, don't go cook a bunch of stuff, because she didn't want me setting the kitchen on fire. So yeah, I would eat things that were shelf stable, and like add some milk to it. So yeah, having that flexibility to be able to grab something, you know, from the pantry that is sugar-free and pour some milk over a keto-friendly cereal.
Yeah, Rachel found Magic Spoon cereal bars. They're kind of like, you know, Rice Krispie treats kind of bars. They were in Costco, little tiny ones. And I brought a couple of those. I mean, I'd rather Peyton eat that than eat a cinnamon roll in Disney World. Sure. Sorry. I mean, I know some people don't want to hear that, but I can't bring a steak with me for her to gnaw on a piece of steak. And she's 3. She wants to enjoy something sweet. Well, and I don't think that that's a bad thing to let her have something. She would eat a carnivore bar, but then like if we did, you know. I couldn't afford that. Well, I mean, we brought some with us. But she eats like Oma. She'd eat 50 of them. But when we would pass by something that was selling something sweet, and she sees visually the beauty of that thing, and she was like, I want that. I want, you know, she knows like it's a dessert. We could hand her that, and she was satisfied. How about 3 years old in a park for 12 hours and never had a meltdown? Pretty awesome. She is, and it's not because she's a great kid. She is a great kid. I mean, she is a great kid, but a lot of that is diet. No sugar crashes. But every parent could enjoy that, not having a freak out thing. Like, again, I want you to feed your children and grandchildren the proper human diet. Not because I want them to be super healthy. I'm very like, you know, this is maybe I'm being stingy, but it's because I love you, my friends. I don't know your children and your grandchildren. I want you to not have the headaches. I want you to want to take your kids and grandkids more places because it's an enjoyable family building experience. And the only reason why you're going to want to tap in more is because the kid isn't having a meltdown all the time, right? Yep. A couple left. Pat
Hey,
said,
Pat.
I have a video request. Can you please look into videos by Benazati and Steak and Butter Girl about bad butter brands? I know many of us use butter in our KetoChow. I'd love to hear your take on it. It becomes quite disheartening when they are out here trying to eat right and end up hearing that even things like butter, olive oil, and canola might secretly contain very bad oils we're trying to avoid. I know we will never be perfect with our health journey, but sheesh. I've seen both their videos. I don't think we can do any more than they've done. And basically, there's a couple of things in there in their videos that I think they nailed. A couple of them are kind of obvious, and I don't think we need a video on. And then there's a couple that are kind of eye-opening. For example, the one thing I learned, if you didn't go watch it, Benazati's got it, and they're very similar videos. But like, for example, the Walmart brand of butter, they lowered the fat content slightly, so it's not. It doesn't. They basically manipulate to still fit within the numbers, but it's not bad. It's just not what you're not getting what you get. The real thing is you have to read labels. You have to read labels. And that's ultimately where both of those videos go. What I'm going to tell you is the same thing that Benazati is going to tell you. Don't buy anything that says spreadable. Don't buy anything that says spreadable. If it says spreadable butter, it's got garbage in it. Pick up the label. Yes, there's 2 million brands of butter out there. There's no way you can investigate and know when you like how much the fat content is, because again, they're sticking to the label. They're just going in so that when they round up, they can still legally call it butter. The problem there is, again, there's so many brands. You're never going to know. So you have to do the best you can. So yes, Walmart, the Walmart brand and the Land O'Lakes, they're playing that game, but it's in the end, it's still good ingredients. It's still good ingredients. It's butter. It's the ones like where they're adding canola oil. Well, that is clearly on the label.
And it's to make it spreadable usually?
Well, spreadable. Then you have things like,
Whipped.
I can't believe it's not butter. There are some companies where they've added in canola oil to make it to save money, but it's on the label. The key takeaway from those two videos is look at your label. Yes. I mean, there's a whole thing about Kerrygold butter that I don't think either one of them talked about. And that is that they were saying there's chemicals that get plastic chemicals in the Kerrygold wrapper that gets into, like, we can only do so much. So my key takeaway I'm going to tell you from those two videos is they did a great job and highlighting again some of like the dirty practices of Land O'Lakes and Walmart, but in the end, it was still butter. The real problem is where when they get into the seed oils and stuff. Well, that is on the label. Just look on the label. If the ingredients don't just say cream and salt, then don't buy it.
Needless.
Spreadable butter is garbage. And I agree with Steak and Butter Girl. If you want spreadable butter, just put it on your counter.
Yes, it will become spreadable.
Butter is fine on your counter for over 2 weeks. The only thing is it must be salted, but you need salt anyway. Okay, you can't put unsalted butter on your counter, but you can put salted butter on your counter, and now it's spreadable and it's perfectly natural. If you want to know the best place to get butter, go to the store, go to a local farmer's market and buy Amish rolls of butter. That's how you're going to know you're getting good butter.
Yeah.
You will pay more for it, though. Next one is from Caprice.
Hey, Caprice.
Is your Substack stuff nobody talks about, or is that someone else's the same name? There's a cat icon, not chickens, or a keto avocado, or anything I recognize. Did I subscribe to a fake? So I put a link for our Substack down below. Yeah. It's literally just the two Crazy Keto Substack. Yeah. But each article has a different name. And that'll just have a picture of, kind of relates to the topic.
I don't think I have one called Stuff Nobody Talks About.
No, we don't. So, but there's a link for our Substack down below. Next one is from Sandra.
You already did
I did that one. We're down on this front. From Anonymous. Now, I took the name out because I responded and they said all in jest, but I still wanted to leave this in here. Said, I love you guys, but Joe is annoying and hard on the eyes. Can we have a crazy Rachel Keto channel? I'm annoying, I guess. I am annoying. I agree I'm annoying.
I find you are very easy on the eyes. And what I would like to say is I'm really thankful that you do not find my husband attractive. You shouldn't, because he's not for you in that way. I hope that you see us as like friends. We care about you. We love you. But I don't want you to find me sexy. I don't want you to find Joe sexy. We're not friends that way.
Yeah, we actually got a comment like that on our camping channel once. Someone's like, not to offend you, but I'd really like to have sex with your wife. I'm like,
that's inappropriate. That's inappropriate. And so it's like as far as attractiveness is concerned, I want to be attractive on the outside to my husband, and I want my heart and Joe's heart to be attractive to your heart, that you see that we have a heart. I hope that like the love of Jesus shines through our heart into your home, that you know that you are cared for. It's not us, it's him. That you see like working through our lives. But like, I think that's disordered. Like, I hope that you're not looking to anybody that you're not in a relationship with, that you would be like, I'm attracted to them.
Now, I will say in this person's defense, which is why I took the name out, I responded with my normal snide comment, which is, thank you for the nasty comment. I'm glad you were able to get that off of your chest.
Yeah.
And just to let you know, it does build our channel, so keep it coming.
Right.
And the person responded back all in jest. I still don't find it funny. How would you like it if I walked up to you and said, hey, you're fat, you're ugly, and you're stupid.
Right.
And you're annoying. And then I followed it up with, just kidding.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't make you feel good. So, I mean, again, if you want to say it, that's fine.
And I don't think that no matter what, like, especially if someone's sharing a recipe, somebody's sharing like information about nutrition, somebody is saying like, hey, here is like a workout routine that you might be able to, incorporate. Like, for any person that's putting themselves on YouTube and they're trying to be helpful, I don't think that attacking the way that they look is helpful.
Well, my thing is this.
And here's the thing. You could watch a video from us from like 7 years ago, and I'm going to look different. Right. That's almost a decade. We are going to age. And I feel like if somebody's trying to be helpful and like you attack the way that they look, or people have said that over the years that like, I need a facelift because like I'm changing. It's like the information is still solid. Like, well,
here's the thing. I put it up there. Like, listen, people can say what they want. We're YouTubers. We put ourselves out there. But this is why you see a lot of YouTubers starting to go, not even quit. I no longer respond to comments. Now, we're blessed that for the most part, our comments are very positive. We only get the occasional one like this. But when you get enough of them, I mean, I've met pastors, I've met other YouTubers who are like, for my sanity, I never look at comments anymore. And now that means that we don't get to interact with you.
Right.
And we can't answer your questions. Yeah. So you see people asking all these questions and comments, and it could be any topic, not just the keto thing, and they're no longer getting answered because the content creator got so sick of the negativity for their own sanity. So that's where this goes. If the negativity continues, not necessarily on our channel, but just in general, the content creator just like, screw it. I just won't answer them. I'm going to put out my video and ignore comments.
And I think the audience ultimately suffers because when there is like enough comments coming on a certain subject, maybe that content creator could address it and it would benefit the whole community as a whole. But like you're saying, to stay out of it for their own sanity, things don't.
So Mel said, how hard is it to just watch a video and think to yourself, not for me, and move on? These people take time out of their obviously not so busy day to leave a comment that's completely pointless. And this was not in response to that person.
No, but it's true.
Last one was from Melinda.
Hey, Melinda.
Said, I have zero luck finding a good, I thought I took this out, but I'm going to leave it, I guess. Zero luck finding a good rooster. I have a new one that I thought would be okay. He's super huge, hurting my older hens. I have one silky rooster, but none of the hens like him because he feeds them sticks. I have a flock of 22. Guess I'll keep my old dumb silky rooster. It really is a challenge to find a good rooster.
It is.
Especially because they can be aggressive. There's a lot of tips on how to stop aggressive roosters by like showing them who's boss, pinning them down, carrying them. One thing I've recently learned is the color of your clothes can get them to attack you. So like, don't wear super bright clothes. Like you said, one day, Tony, he hasn't attacked you since, but one day you came out and I thought back, you were wearing very bright fluorescent colors. So like fluorescent colors and stuff, because of the way they see, could make them attack.
I do find that like we have good luck, raising them out of our own flock that, you've had time with them as like a
Don't buy a
baby.
rooster at auction, even though we sell roosters at auction.
I also going like from farm to farm, like reaching out to another backyard farmer who maybe has a second rooster that is lower on the totem pole of like, or the pecking order for that group. Like that's one of the ways that we had gotten Seth, which was like a great rooster, is
He got
because
taken by a hawk.
he was he was in another flock, but he was getting picked on by the other rooster. He was like, lower in the pecking order.
Right.
And so the other ladies didn't respect him. And he wasn't somebody that was like, trying to assert himself. And so once we incorporated him into our flock, he was a great match because he wasn't, aggressive in any way. Another thing would just be making sure that like height is a need too, because we found that like our Indian giant, because of just how tall he was,
They can hurt them.
He could hurt them because of where he would grab, the ladies.
Okay, let's get into a few comments before we get off. Sorry, we ran a little long. Sarah said, I have a rooster who's overall a great guy, but he suddenly started picking on and attacking one of my sweetest hens. We tried all suggestions, but finally had to give him away. He's great with give her away. He's great with the rest. Yet again, even though we do get rid of roosters at auction, it's mostly because we don't want to have too many of them. Don't buy roosters at auctions, because most people who are selling their roosters at auctions are not us. They're people who are getting rid of their problem roosters that attack people and everything else.
Yeah.
My two tabs, is that what that is? My two labs. Go figure the person's enough. No, the person had their name. I took it out to be nice.
Yeah.
Their name was on the comment. Uh-oh.
I think you like.
I zoomed out. I'll just come up here. It'll be easier. What for? Joe has reminded me of the actor John Malkovich in Voice and Looks.
I always liked John Malkovich.
I like John Malkovich. We were just watching a movie with him. I can't remember what it was.
I always loved him in Reds.
Yeah.
And Reds 2. Those were great.
Sarah said, Joe, you kind of look like my father-in-law, who I think looks very good for someone his age, and I hope my husband takes after him. I would not mind at all.
Thank you. That's nice.
Denise said, when did good morals and manners go out the window? I would love to know the same thing.
I know.
Okay, so again, I know.
It's like, why do you just don't, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. I don't understand why that can't apply.
So
I guess they figure by saying, well, Rachel doesn't suck as bad as Joe does.
But it's not just that. I
like,
think manners in general, I don't know what's happened that like parents don't teach their kids manners anymore. I'm at Disney with a not even 3-year-old. I mean, she's, well, for all intents and purposes, she's 3, right? She'll be 3, right? In a couple of weeks. So Peyton's favorite type of ride is a spinning ride. Like the teacups in Disney. It's the one, like, I would not take my children on it, but my love for my granddaughter, I'm sitting like, oh my God, I don't get sick, right? But she's like, faster, we got to spin this thing. So we're waiting on, we're the very first people, and she's like, she's 3. I want to go in the pink cup. Okay, well, there's a pink cup here, and there's a pink cup over here, and there's a couple of grandmas with their 2 little granddaughters, a little bit older than Peyton, right behind us, and they want to go on pink.
They were talking about.
But they were behind us, so we're going to get our first choice. So I say, Peyton, we're going to go over to that one so that we can make sure these little girls can get this one, because it's closer, and we want to make sure they can get pink. We can go further away because we're first. So she's like, okay, Opa. So we go over, and they make no running, right? We go over. Well, this little girl with her dad, who's like 8,
yes,
literally comes over and pushes Peyton out of the way. And the dad just stands there and like, okay. So I'm like, and Peyton's like almost on Peyton, we're going to go over there. There's another one over there. But I'm like, you're not going to correct your daughter for pushing a little 3-year-old girl to the ground? No, it's okay.
Right. Well, I was so proud of you. Like, he's getting off because I have Parker, and she can't go on that ride that's like spinny because, she's not even 3 months old yet. I don't want her like getting sick. And so Joe is coming back to me off the ride, and I can see his facial expression is, are you going to brag on me for not going to jail just now? Like, because I watched somebody knock this kid out of the way and I didn't kill them. Like, I was like, good job.
So Pat said, I understood their videos to say that there's small amounts of seed oil, even in the 6, and it's below the levels they have to report. No, what they were talking about was with the Walmart and I believe the Land O'Lakes version as well, that the fat content is actually lower than would actually technically make it butter. But because of rounding, they can still call it butter, but it's technically lower. But the seed oil, again, I mean, there's a couple in there where they're talking about the seed oils and the fact that there are seed oils, but it is on the label that there are seed oils in these butters. They're usually they're usually in ones that are spreadable, but they can also be in sticks, and it'll say like seed oil.
So it'll say like cream and canola oil?
The one place that I think Ben actually made a mistake, I didn't comment on the video, whereas he was talking about use Kerrygold, and he said you don't have to worry about it because they don't make a spreadable. I believe it is Kerrygold that does make a spreadable,
okay,
but they put avocado oil.
Mm.
But again, I agree with Steak and Butter Girl, where she actually mentioned that one and said I still wouldn't do it because even avocado oil, though it's a healthier oil, it's not as good as butter. And also, let's not forget what avocado oil they put in out there. We know that there's a lot of avocado oil blends.
Sure.
You know, so like she was like, I wouldn't even get this, even though it is Kerrygold butter.
Stick it on your counter.
Bride said, my cat just gave me a thumbs up when you said put salted butter on the counter.
Because your cat would like some too.
Yeah. Risa said, Aldi is the only place I can buy pasture-raised eggs because they are $3 to $5 less a dozen. I'll be buying 2 dozen today. If I can't get them anywhere else, I buy organic K-Trade.
That's awesome.
That is going to be the best thing to do. Also, be careful with eggs over. We have a video somewhere, the difference between pasture raised and free range. Okay, there is a huge difference. Free range is a marketing gimmick. To be labeled free range, they only need access to the outside, so they can literally have them in a giant hen house with thousands of chickens.
In this little cutout door.
And then they only need to have a little tiny hole, and I think it's a 2 foot by 2 foot space. So they have access to outside. It doesn't mean they're going outside. It just means they have access to outside. Whereas pasture raised means they are actually raised on pasture.
Imagine giving a chicken this giant maze.
So like free range is pretty much nothing other than cage free.
And saying, well, if you can figure out how to get out of this escape room, you can enjoy a little bit of sun.
Sarah said, I've never noticed a difference in yolk sizes between mine and store-bought eggs, but then again, I buy pastured eggs at Sam's Club for a great deal. Yeah, that the yolk size comes in that, and also that's where the difference comes in what they're eating and all of that kind of stuff. But even the fat content in the same size yolk could be drastically different because of what they're eating. Anything else before we get off? I don't see anything really. You answered the question about keto brains, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Joe said, yep, OMAD ruined his metabolism. I strongly discourage OMAD.
For a very extended period of time.
Barbara said, undereating is definitely an issue for me. I strongly discourage OMAD as a ritual. If you OMAD because I'm just not hungry today, and so I'm only going to eat one meal, that's different than purposely, I only ever eat one meal a day, and I can't ever go off.
Well, and here's the thing, because again, think about the motivation. Think about the fact that like the disordered eating is the fruit of the problem, not the root of the problem. So if you get to the point where you're saying to yourself, I have to OMAD because I can't be trusted with food other than this small eating window, instead of feeding that eating window, why don't we start asking ourselves, why? Right. Why can I not be trusted? What do I need to take a look at in my history that led me to the point that I can't be trusted with food? Right? Like if you would want to rehabilitate and get to the root of the problem, if someone was like, I can't go into a store because if I do, I must shoplift. Right. We would say, well, whoa, we need to get to the point of like, why are you experiencing kleptomania? Like, we need to deal with what led to the point where if in a store you steal. So if in a kitchen you can't help yourself but to eat, well, we don't want to say, well, I can never be trusted in a kitchen. Well, you have a kitchen in your house. So we need to deal with what led to the point where in the kitchen you harm yourself.
Biggest problem with OMAD is you can't get the nutrition in. I'd probably say, good guess, 95% of people who are doing OMAD are not getting enough nutrition. It is going to be very difficult to consume 2,000 calories of meat in a 1 hour window on every day.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're not, then you're not eating enough. That leads to undereating. It leads to not getting enough nutrition. That's the biggest problem with the OMAD, especially on women, and that it can affect your hormones. And so eating consistently on OMAD every single day can end up where you're not eating enough food and then end up slowing down your metabolism. Okay, we're going to get off now. We will be back live on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I know we're going up to Tampa.
Right.
But we'll be back live on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. for our normal Thursday night live streams. Also on Wednesday at 10 a.m., Rachel will be doing her coaching call for the paid version of our Mighty Networks group. If you're not a member, go join. members.twocrazyketos.com. And that is only for the paid groups for the $5, $10, or $25 levels. Everything else is free. That's just extra for people who want to support us financially. Have a great day, guys. Bye.
We love you.